there is a level of certainty that behind the scenes, if you have it, it almost makes everything else. It's like the opposite. If behind the scenes you're super certain and you have a lot of confidence and you feel confident in who you are and you have certainty in who you are, you don't really care that much about the external stuff.
This dude's a multimillionaire, he's sponsored, he's signing autographs, and I'm over here just feeling like a loser. And I started playing the long game after that, and now it's a really cool life that I live. And if you're really successful in a virtual world, or maybe on social media, but yet in your real life you don't feel good about yourself, that is something to check in on.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1993, what's the difference between a crutch and a trampoline? No, you showed that in the last episode. You don't get to show it 2 episodes in a row, son. So, I was on a really, really, really cool podcast in the Metaverse. I don't know how to explain it, but I was sent this headset. I'm going to show it on YouTube real quick, just so you know what I'm talking about.
He's going to show it on YouTube.
I was sent this headset, and I put it on my face, and then I turned some power buttons on, and then I was in the Metaverse, and then I got invited to this podcast room in the Metaverse, and it was this super, super, super cool thing. So essentially, it was virtual reality, and I was on a virtual reality podcast in a studio with live people there that were also in virtual reality as their avatar selves. I was my avatar self. Super, super cool. But I had a moment.
Did you get to pick what you wore and all that?
Of course I did. No tattoos, which made me really sad. I couldn't tattoo myself up, but it was pretty close. It was pretty close, I'll say.
Did you have a hat on?
No. Nope.
Suited up? You suited up?
No, nice tee, like nice fitting tee. Show off the guns, you know. I definitely
show off the Metaverse virtual guns.
I turned the muscle up a little bit on him, above average muscle. I had to go kind of above average muscle. Couldn't control the height, so I was probably about 6 feet tall in the Metaverse, which, you know, I'm not complaining about that. Wasn't my doing. I'm not complaining about that. But
what was that like?
It was no different because it was a cartoon. So I could have been 12 feet tall. I wouldn't even known. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I was losing my mind for a short time. This is the thing that I took away. I took away many things. And shout out to anybody from there listening. You guys are awesome. I was backstage, and when you're backstage, you can see what's happening in the front of the stage, and they were introducing me and telling me about my story a little bit and all that. And I said, this would be such a good practice for somebody who wants to be a speaker but is afraid of speaking in public, because you get the feeling of speaking in public because you're on stage and you can see people raising their hands and you're literally at a desk like it's a morning show, but nobody knows what you look like. You could literally be sweating through your clothes and it wouldn't matter.
Was it a speech where you were speaking to the audience, or was it an interview?
It was an interview where I was also trying to do a really good job of getting the audience involved. Yeah.
Nice.
So I would turn when I was answering, because there was no mic. The headset has the mic, so you can kind of do whatever you want. Super, super weird.
How was the audio quality?
Decent. Not this quality, but decent. Better than I expected, honestly. Yeah, it was better than I expected. That was my thought that I brought to Alan today. I said it was a really interesting between a podcast episode and a speech. I was way more nervous than I ever would be for a podcast episode, but I was way less nervous than I ever have been for a live speaking event. I said, there's something to that. And then Alan said, well, what's the difference he said, it would be really easy to use that as a crutch. And I said, yeah, that's fair. But in my mind, that could be a potential trampoline for somebody who is nervous about it. You get your feet wet, you jump, you realize, oh, wow, that went really good, or it went way better than I thought. Then maybe you do more of those in front of a bigger audience, and then eventually you take the headset off and you go do it in real life. That could be the trampoline that gives you the jump that you need. But yeah, it was just a very interesting experience for sure, and a lot of lessons from it as well.
My curiosity is driving right now. How did you walk? You were sitting when you did this? How is the walking?
Hold on. I have my pajamas on, so don't look at my arse. Hold on. I'm sorry for anybody listening, which is the vast majority of our audience. My apologies. You have these little joysticks.
Oh, nice.
And it's like you just...
So you were seated the whole time, but you can walk around with the joysticks.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, I could have just told you that instead of getting them out of the box, but I got props.
Little show and tell today
I
on Next Level University.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my father's gonna come in next. We'll talk about what he does for a living. I'm gonna find out at the same time as the audience does. That's a dark joke. So
little dark jokes from Kevin today. Okay. Whenever there's a new technology introduced to the market, there is implications of said technology. If anyone has ever seen the movie WALL-E, it is very concerning where humanity could be heading. And essentially, what are the implications of this new tech? You can sit in the comfort of your home and join a metaverse with 8 billion potential other people. In this case, 6 billion, because 2 billion don't have internet yet. Although I do think that's changing rapidly with satellite Wi-Fi. Okay. Tool versus crutch. Or in your case, trampoline versus crutch. Trampoline is, hey, I'm going to use this to get better at speaking, and I'm going to practice in front of a fake audience. Similar to a video game, I'm going to practice against the computer or the CPU.
No, it's a real audience.
No, I know that. I know it was a real audience with what you did.
Okay.
I'm saying if...
Gotcha.
Okay. I had someone come to me years ago. She said, I suck at speaking. I'm the fucking worst at speaking.
Very positive self-talk.
Yeah, no, not great. But I agree with her. She was bad. And she said, help me. Can you please help me? I want to be a better speaker. I said, of course. Let's rock and roll. I told her what you tell your clients. Speak in front of your story. But first, you got to speak in front of your phone without posting it. So the staircase that you have to create is, okay, I'm going to take a video of myself, and I'm not going to post it, but I'm going to pretend that I'm going to post it. Boom. Then you don't post it. Okay, awesome. Practice that for a couple weeks. Then you're going to take a 1-minute video, and you're going to post it on just your story, not your feed, just your story. And maybe pick Instagram, where you have not friends and family. Okay, mostly just friends, not family. Whoever you're most afraid of their judgment, don't post it there. Or maybe even a better intermediate step is take a 1.5-minute long video trying to talk about a lesson in a story and send it to me, and I'll keep it private. Okay, a little more outside your comfort zone. Little more outside your comfort zone. Little more outside your comfort zone. And then, okay, do story. Okay, now post it on your feed. Okay, now post it on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Okay, now post it on TikTok too, and start a YouTube channel. This person now has a YouTube channel, and all those years ago, when she came to me saying, I suck at speaking, I want to get better at speaking, she's become significantly better. I'm talking, probably 100 times better, if not 1,000 times better. Way more confident, way more articulate, way more powerful pauses, much less filler words, much more able to conceptualize and communicate her thoughts. It's unreal what can happen. So the metaverse thing, let's say person A, person B. We'll talk about trampoline versus crutch. One of the scary things about the metaverse is that you might use that as a crutch. And Kevin has talked to me a little bit about behind the scenes how he didn't want to leave.
It was awesome. First thing I thought was porn would be incredible. I mean, I can only imagine how awesome that would be. Now, I'm not going to do it, and I didn't do it, but so Brian, the gentleman who had me on, was like, hey, let me take you to the ESPN world. And I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but let's go. I love sports. And there was like a home run derby you could play. That was kind of like, it was like Wii a little bit. Like it was like Wii home run derby a little bit. But then we went to this stadium. He's like, yeah, they have like live events in here. I was like, how? What do you mean?
What do you mean they?
Yeah, like who does? And how? How could it possibly be here? And he's like, well, what? You just
It all exists on a server. Yeah.
Yeah, you go find a seat, and then it broadcasts whatever the live game is through your headset, and it's essentially like you're there on the sidelines. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, they have UFC. I was like, what? And I literally messaged Brian today and said, hey, do you want me to send this to Alan? You're going to have Alan on, right? I'm waiting for his response. There's UFC on tomorrow night. I might ask him how to do that to see what it's like. But to Alan's point, yeah, there's a lot of implications. It was a really cool experience. And here's the thing. You can kind of be whoever you want in the virtual
world. You can be 6 feet tall. You can be thinner or more muscular. You can be with or without tattoo. It's just a little bit. Kevin and I have talked in the past how Kev doesn't edit any of his photos. And the reason why is he doesn't want to use that as a crutch. He wants to make sure that, and he's told stories in the past, I'll let you share if you want, but how with dating apps, you would always say, hey, by the way, I'm short.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the first things I would say.
Because you don't want to be a disappointment when you show up. I think that's also why you're always on time.
More for me, I think it's not that I didn't want to be a disappointment. I didn't want to get embarrassed. If somebody was disappointed and then they like made up an excuse and left, I don't think it would have hurt me. But it was more if somebody was just going to outright be like, oh, yeah, okay. So I figured, no, you never have to say sorry. You never have to say sorry.
I literally can't even help it.
I was trying to prevent myself from just getting
has that ever happened?
The one time
Can you imagine? You get to a blind date and
that's never happened. But it happened when I was at a party with Alan, and there was a young lady that I was courting. And again, I probably wasn't doing it in the best, most respectful way. I was under the influence. And it was something along the lines of that, like you're way too short for us. It's like, okay. I mean, you probably could have said it. And then I egoed up, and I was like, do you have any fucking clue how much money I make? Do you even know who you're talking to? Now, again, in retrospect, would I have done it that way? No. But that's
the response of a secure man.
Well, the truth of the matter is I'd rather that for me was digging back instead of saying something rude about them.
Yeah.
Because I could have pulled something from my butt, said, okay.
Yeah, well, I don't date ugly girls.
Yeah, I could easily say that. It's
like something like that.
Well, that wasn't your
I'm too short for you. You're too busted
ago.
For me. You know.
Yeah.
That's two wrongs do make a right in Kevin's world.
But I didn't want to do that. But yeah, that is a case of that actually happened in real life. It was devastating. And then I woke up the next day. I slept in a tent. There was a thunderstorm. Just imagine me. I woke up at like 5 a.m. because I had to go to work somewhere.
I was at this party.
You were at this party. Yeah, I'm sure you
party. That
probably
we were swimming
inside.
at 3 a.m. having been drunk.
Yes.
I think you were definitely more drunk than I was, but
of course I was. And I was packing up my tent in a thunderstorm in the morning, just hungover as shit, just by myself. No, I was the only person awake. It was terrible. It was a terrible night. Absolutely terrible.
And by morning, you mean 3 hours after we were swimming.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
All right, so to bring this back, there's someone from Kevin and I's high school who posted today a new profile picture that was AI created. She looks nothing like that.
I don't know who this is, so I will have to look at
it. This person has done this before.
Okay.
I'll give another example. So there's someone on Facebook that I am friends with, and you know how everyone for a while there, they did this is how I would have looked if I went back to high school AI thingy or whatever that is. And then there's a person who literally uses that as their profile picture. And it's an AI generated photo. She looks like a supermodel. Her boobs in the photo are bigger. Her nose is smaller. Everything's done up. And the scary part about that is that when your virtual world and your social world become more important than your real world, that's an outside-in approach to success and fulfillment rather than an inside-out approach. And I think all of us, myself included, are guilty of this. There was a time in my life where I was portraying happiness, like I was confident and happy and fulfilled, when in reality I was hammering nips in the parking lot, wildly unfulfilled, and didn't want to go in and celebrate. But I just said, screw it, I'm going to drink these down, I'm going to get blasted, and I'm going to go be the life of this fucking party. And then I'm going to go home and hate my fucking life again. Obviously, that last part was playfully joking, but also true. And that was a very short time. I was very nihilistic and hopeless and helpless, and I hated my fucking life. I did. It was bad. Luckily, I climbed out of that, and I'm now much less nihilistic and much more hopeful and much more internally fulfilled. But Kevin and I quarter life crises in our mid-20s, we realize that outside in is the fucking worst idea ever. And we're going to start building ourselves from the inside out. Okay, what do I tie my self-esteem to? What do I tie my self-worth to? And the reason why the metaverse is scary is because I think some people will use it as a way to make their virtual life better than their real life. And the last piece, before I let Kev talk again, promise, is the best metaphor I've ever come up with for this is, I would say 99% of weddings, the actual wedding, the photographs of the wedding look gorgeous, but not 99% of marriages are wonderful. When you focus more on the marriage and the intimate relationship than you do on the Instagram photos, you're most likely going to be much more successful and fulfilled long term than if you're constantly looking at who has a better profile picture and creating AI images of yourself rather than your true self-worth and self-belief. So Kevin and I are not trying to be negative or unkind, but you can use the metaverse or these techniques of the staircase, like the person who struggled with effective communication and speaking, and have it build yourself up. Or you can use it as a way to cope with not liking your real life. And I think that long term, that's potentially very detrimental.
Well, it's kind of like for the first time, you're able to choose what world you want to live in. I mean, outside of video game, and the internet did this for a while, and it still does, but it's kind of a different way now because everybody's kind of caught up to it. So every time you get the opportunity to live in a new world, you choose a new version of yourself for that world. And I can imagine, because again, I've played a lot of sports video games in my life. I don't play anymore, but I used to play the football games and the fighting games and boxing games and baseball games. I always would make my dude short and jacked. Always. I never made him tall, ever. It just didn't, it seemed dumb as hell. Like, what are we doing? That's not even what I look like. Mm-hmm. So I would make him 5'5", 5'6". I think maybe, because that's who I am. If I'm going to create
You don't want to create delusion.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a through line in your life, is you just don't want to get delusional?
I don't think it's always been. But now, I think so.
When in hindsight were you the most delusional? The least tethered to reality? When you first started working with me.
Yeah, today.
Earlier today.
Right this second. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know.
What is the reason? When I was younger, I was a really, I've talked about this before, really unpopular in the beginning of high school. I think at the tail end, things turned around. I was friends with some of the football players and stuff like that. But in the beginning, I was absolute fucking loser. I don't know why I'm swearing so much, but
yeah, gets fired up today. He's back in high school. That's why.
Yeah, you know it. A little reversion today. But I was really good at a video game at the time called Halo 2. And when I say really good, I'm talking Bungie.net was the ranking. I was 20th on planet Earth. And this was the most popular video game at the time for any Xbox game. The most popular Xbox game on planet Earth, I was 20th in the world at. I've made thousands of dollars at tournaments playing this game.
With decent numbers. Numbers.
But my point is that in Uxbridge, there was a clan called UXK, Uxbridge Knockouts, in this virtual world of Halo 2. And some of the more popular kids from the grade above us were really pumped to have me on their team because I got us a really high ranking. It was 3v3 back then, and they weren't very good, but I'm good enough to carry the whole team, honestly, at that point. So you'd level up. Next level you'd level up. And I felt so popular and sought after in the virtual game. And anyone who knew Halo, I was like the man. Amongst the nerdy Halo crew, I was like so popular. The most popular ever. But then in real life, I'd be in the cafeteria, and if you don't play Halo 2, I'm a nobody. And that used to fuck with me. I've never told this story, Kev, but I went to a Major League Gaming event in Providence when I was in college, because I played with a man named Strongside. And for anyone who knows Halo 2, they would know this, but no one does, so okay. His name was Strongside. He was on the best team in the world, Final Boss, the Ogres, Ogre 1 and Ogre 2. So anyone who knows Halo would know this, but anyone who doesn't won't. All right.
I just like how you keep saying that.
I know I have to. All right. So
This is where
it's like two different
Alan
worlds.
Alan gets a little. I think Alan gets a little insecure in times like this because you're talking about how good you were at something. So if there's any weird energy, that's why. But Alan's world class at video games. I played with him one time, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, you weren't kidding. You're really good at this. You're way better than this than I am, and I play way more than you."
Nice.
And then Alan's like, "All right,
that.
dude, real talk. I gotta stop because I'm gonna get addicted." I was like, "Okay, cool. It's been fun."
I said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have gotten addicted for sure. Yeah. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes. Okay, so I dial everything up to 11. Okay, so Halo 2, Major League Gaming is the company, and Strong Side was on my team. I kicked him off. He kept taking the sniper rifle. He wasn't nearly as good as me. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I had one of the top team deathmatches teams in the world. He did too. He went on the best team. I got a girlfriend and went to college. Huge mistake. It apparently. I'm joking. But seriously, I stopped playing and I went to school. I went to WPI. I kid you not, sophomore year of college, I am struggle bussing, dude. I'm not happy. This is a tough time in my life. And we go to Major League Gaming Providence, and I kid you not, Kev, put yourself into young Alan's shoes. This dude is sitting at a table signing autographs. The line is out the effing door, dude. I'm not kidding. And there's these Dr. Pepper girls that are in these skimpy bikinis, and they're the hottest thing ever. And this dude is signing autographs out the door, and I'm drunk at this event. Okay, I took 6 shots before I walked in there. And I'm unhappy and unfulfilled. I'm doing well in college, but I'm definitely not reaching my potential. And I was better than this guy at this game, right? So anyways, that was a really, really humble moment for me. That was a hard night for me. And I decided after that night that I was going to make something of myself. I actually started lifting weights after that. My junior year was way better. Boom, 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 boom. So those humble pie moments are like, this dude's a multimillionaire. He's sponsored. He's signed autographs. He's got the hottest girls around him. And I'm over here just feeling like a loser. And I started playing the long game after that. And now it's a really cool life that I live and all this stuff. But for anyone out there, if you're really successful in a virtual world or maybe on social media, but yet in your real life you don't feel good about yourself, that is something to check in on.
Well, even this, right? Imagine if the second this podcast episode ends, you and I are just miserable. Like, that's not sustainable. It's just not. It's not sustainable.
No, it's not. It's not.
So that's be very careful where you're building the most. And again, it was a super cool experience. I enjoyed it. I told Alan, I was like, I need one of these things. I would love to watch UFC on this. I'm so curious to what that's like. And I also said I didn't want to leave. It was a really cool experience. I mean, I was somebody different in there than I am in real life. Not really, because I was there to speak and be a podcaster, which is great. But I can imagine what that could do to you. I can imagine what that could do to your head. I imagine what that could do to everything. If you feel more comfortable and you feel more confident in a virtual world, I mean, just imagine how that's going to play. You're not going to want to be in the regular world. You're going to get more insecure because you're always going to be thinking about, well, I don't have it here like I do there. And I think that is a recipe for long-term disaster. And I'm willing to bet that mental health will mental health struggling will continue to increase as virtual reality gets more popular. Because social media is already messing with our heads. This is different.
It is messing with our heads. That is happening whether we like it or not. This person that I'm referring to from high school was popular in high school. And she did look really good in high school. She doesn't look... She just posted a profile photo that looks like she is a supermodel. And it's not real. And I say this with empathy because I would be willing to bet, having coached so many people behind the scenes, including an actual supermodel, most likely that is out of insecurity, because if she loved how she looks now, she'd probably post a photo of her now. And again, I'm not making it wrong, because I think we've all been there. I obviously told you some stories about my own insecurities in the past, but at the end of the day, me posting a photograph, I actually just went back and I put on my Instagram story a bunch of modeling photos from back when I was a model and back when I was doing fitness competitions, and I don't look like that now. And I posted that, and it was kind of throwback to the modeling days and that kind of thing. And it definitely motivates the hell out of me, because I don't like not getting better, but I'm not putting that as my profile picture. I put that saying, hey, throwback, as I just need to be clear in my own consciousness that was the past, that is not the now. And I think a lot of people would be tempted to put a profile photo like of that, because that was me looking physically my best from the outside in. So be your best from the inside out, and then from the outside in, you'll also look good, versus trying to look good from the outside in can be very dangerous. And that's, again, we talk about that a lot. Next level you from the inside out. I think that's a really core principle that we have.
I agree.
And you try really hard not to be delusional, and I respect that a lot about you. And I think that you are really good at making sure that you don't fall for what you've done in the past, which is trying to look like a badass on the outside, but not feeling like a badass on the inside.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. I posted a story photo today of me flexing. I posted two fitness pics. One, I look really good. Good lighting, no filters, good lighting. And the other one, I think I look okay, but I'm not in nearly as good a shape as I used to be. And I know that when I put that picture up. Like, I could have done a lot of stuff. I could have changed the color. I could have done a lot of stuff. It was like, this is the way I look. It is what it is. And then the thing is, like, who's going to say something? I would expect the only person that would really reach out to me and say something is somebody who's in better shape than I am.
Well, back in the day, you used to sort of portray yourself as a badass.
I was a badass. How dare you?
Fair.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. But internally, you didn't have confidence.
Yeah.
Right? So you were portraying confidence when you weren't confident. Real quick before we transition to the next episode, what do you understand? What's your perspective on that now, I guess? Because if I could go back, I would say, Alan, it's awesome that you're good at Halo, and that's great. And competitive gaming, that's great. But that's not going to fulfill you in the real world. Because when that console goes off, you're going to need to still have a life in the real world too. And if you work on your life in the real world, you'll also be good at Halo, but it can't be the other way around.
Yeah, I now think of it kind of like a sitcom. When you're watching a sitcom, they always show the person walking in the door. They're leaving the outside world and coming into their home. And I think of it that way. When this camera shuts off, when the mic shut off, when Taryn gets home, when I'm by myself, that's when I have to be really comfortable with myself. That's the vast majority of the time also. It just doesn't seem like it if you listen to this podcast, because it's the only time you see us. There is a level of certainty that behind the scenes, if you have it, it almost makes everything else, it's like the opposite. If behind the scenes you're super certain and you have a lot of confidence and you feel confident in who you are and you have certainty in who you are, you don't really care that much about the external stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I can put that picture up because I'm not really worried about it. I'm good with who I am. I feel like I'm a good man. I'm heart-driven. I'm character-driven, morals, ethics, awesome. If somebody wants to say, Kev, you got a little back fat, it's like, yeah, I know. I'm not there yet. But if I felt, okay, it's this. It's almost like you control the place that you have the least certainty in. I don't have to control what I post on social media because I don't really care that much. I've had this fucking rash on my face. I don't know. You can't really see it right now. It's been like 2 months. I thought that shit would go away by now. Mm-hmm. I put Selsun Blue on it. I tried to burn it off. I don't know what the hell's going on. So I got to go to the dermatologist. I have a video presentation I have to create as I guess it's kind of like a application to get on a podcast. I haven't done that yet because I don't want to have this, but it's not like I'm skipping episodes or wearing a mask. There are certain things that it's like, What, am I going to skip an episode because I got something on my face? No. Am I going to cover it up? No. Are there things that I won't do? Yeah, if Taryn said, hey, we should go do a photo shoot, I'd probably say, why don't we wait until I get this thing taken care of? Just because it doesn't make sense. But it's not because I'm insecure. It's because I think some things are just logical. So I think wherever you feel like you have the least control, you're most likely going to feel like you have to control the most. And I think for a lot of us, that's why we put up our wedding pictures as our profile pictures. That's when we had the most control. We had hair done and makeup done or whatever, right? Or AI, you have all the control. You can make it look however you want. And that is a very, very scary thing. So again, very similar to Alan, I have empathy for this because it's so easy to do that. And if let's say I didn't know Alan and I hadn't seen you in 10 years and you threw up an AI photo of yourself and I wasn't as in tune with stuff as I am, I might think that's what you actually look like. And I might say, shit, good for you, man.
Not even an AI photo, but the photos I posted of the modeling shoots, those look good.
Yeah.
But you might think that's what I look like now.
I would think you look like that now. I messaged somebody the other day.
What would be the benefit of that? There's no utility in the real world for that. But what the social status thing? It would just be a social status thingy or whatever?
You're never going to see that person in real life, so they'll never really know. They're not, let's say you never post videos, so I don't know what you look like. You're in complete control of what photos you post. You may never ever post a picture again that isn't. But
now I'm trapped. Now I have to look over. Now I have to try to look good every time I leave the house. Now I have to.
I know.
I don't know. It traps you, I think, emotionally, in a way. I had something else I wanted to share about this that I thought was really powerful, but I think it'll either come to me or we'll go. Social world and real world. I've been talking a lot about that. It is very clear to me at this stage that the social world and the real world are two different things, and we have to live in both.
We do.
Yeah, and then when Kevin and I, this is what I found it, and we'll go. Okay. I posted a photograph of Kevin and I at a Halloween party. Do you remember what year that was? That was a while ago. This was 2013, I think, because I had started a company called Campus Libre with 3 other people at my school, my college, and I went back to my hometown, and Kevin was you were a genie. You were a jacked genie. You had like the...
Yeah.
Yeah, so I posted this photograph. It's Kevin and I was a Backstreet Boy. I was Nick Carter, and Kevin was a genie in a lamp. Genie.
It didn't require a shirt. So I was like, that's the one.
That's the one. And you and I probably both back then were less secure than we are now. For sure.
1,000%, yes.
For sure. But I would never know that. You acted so secure. You looked jacked. You said, I don't know what Campus Libre is, but I like it. And that was the first time you had been nice to me in a long time, so I was pumped about it because Kevin wasn't a fan of me in high school. And both of us were wildly more insecure back then than we are now, but you wouldn't know it from the outside in. And I think that that's really important. People are not as secure as you think they are.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are acting the most confident are actually the least confident. Not always, but a lot of the time, yeah.
Yeah, and we've known them, we've met them, we've been behind the scenes with them. And again, I don't mean it from a place of like judging someone else. I just think it's important to have the real truth.
What did you think about my confidence back then?
Oh, I thought you were the most confident.
Yeah, I thought you were the most confident.
I was drunk. I am confident when I'm drunk. I am super confident when I'm drunk.
Okay.
Because I'm not thinking about anything.
But I wouldn't have known that was when you were drunk. You see how the outside looking in is always so... Don't compare your real life to someone else's.
You weren't supposed to. That's the thing. You weren't supposed to question it. I didn't want anybody to question it. I wanted you to think I was confident. That was
it worked.
That was my way to belong. That was my way to... I didn't feel good about myself in real life. The last thing I want to do is feel shitty about myself at a party, too. I'm going to a party to have fun. Let me pretend I'm something I'm not. But yeah, you and I connected. We reconnected that day.
We did.
The rest is
history.
history.
That was the first time since middle school, I think.
Yeah, we were partying.
Yeah, we were.
We're partying.
Little
hard.
Captain Morgan.
I don't know what Bud Light, I think, maybe Budweiser. I don't know what I was drinking at that point, but yeah, wild times. All right, here's the takeaway. We'll do a takeaway. We're gonna try to do takeaways for every episode. Next time you find yourself really, really, really trying to be in control of some sort of situation that directly affects your perception. Let's say you take a bunch of pictures and none of them work for social media. It's like, that ain't it, that ain't it, that ain't it. I challenge you to fucking post one. Put it on your story. Put it on your story. You don't have to make it your profile picture, but I think it'll be beneficial. I do. One of the again, I'm not saying this is what anybody wants, but one of the reasons Alan and I'll speak for myself, I'm able to show up here oftentimes looking not great, like shit. Right? It depends on, sometimes I wear the same shirt for 5 episodes in a row because we record a bunch. I get a growth on my face. My facial hair is all over the place. I don't even think about it anymore. Probably to a detriment. I could look better. Right? I haven't got a haircut in, oh my God, just so long. I don't even know how long it's been. So long. I need a haircut. The problem is I don't care enough to go do it. That's literally that's my problem. And I've been on camera 3,000 times. So every time it's been a little bit of exposure therapy, a little bit. Oh, I have a big zit. What am I going to cancel my day? I can't do that. I can't just cancel 5 interviews because I have a zit on my nose. It's helped me. That exposure therapy has helped me. I know I'm not in that much control and I'm okay with it. So I think that's a little 1% improvement for all of us.
Nice. My takeaway is the social world and the real world matter. Both of them matter. But the real world matters more. Kev, are you playing virtual world stuff?
I was playing virtual world stuff, but I don't want to take away from your seriousness.
It's all good. He was playing with his Metaverse
Brian's.
Sticks.
It's not mine.
Metaverse sticks. The real world, inside out. Real world first, social world second.
Nice.
If your real world is great, it will ripple out into the social world. Doesn't necessarily work the other way around.
Unfortunately not. All right. Next Level Nation, if you are listening to this on the day at launch, that is Saturday. This Thursday, we have a meetup. So every single month, we do a free monthly meetup. What are we doing this month?
Time management.
Time management. Very sexy. Very sexy topic.
Let me get you the exact title here.
But oftentimes, those are the most valuable ones.
I had a past client of mine reach out. It's been a while.
Come party.
And he said, hey, can I come to the meetup? Absolutely. Shout out to you. You know who you are. How to more effectively manage your time.
Okay.
Number 39. Kevin and I improve these every month.
That is on Thursday. What's the date? 6th?
Next to Thursday, the 6th.
It'll be this Thursday, if you're listening.
Yes.
This coming Thursday.
Yeah.
It's dropping on Saturday. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
March 6th from 5 to 6 p.m. How to more effectively manage your time.
Perfect. Totally free. Link to the website will be in the show notes. You can go, you can register. It'll send you the link, all that happy jazz. And if you have not yet, I used my Dreamliner today. If you have not yet gotten your Dreamliner, make sure you head on over to Amazon. We'll have the link in the show notes. Because little journals, just a little bit of journaling every day. You don't have to do 45 minutes of journaling. What is the old saying? An apple a day is better than 7 on Sunday. I think journaling is the same thing. A little bit. Just a little bit. 15 minutes a day. Not even. It probably took me 7 minutes today. Alan likes to write a lot more, so it takes a little bit of time, but 7 minutes a day. You can do that. You got 7 minutes. All right. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Stay next level. Next Level Nation.